Hey Raghunath, tell everyone about our Patreon community.
Sure, Kaustubha. The Wisdom of the Sages Patreon community is an incredible online yoga resource. If you like the type of yoga wisdom and culture we share on the show, then our Patreon community is a great next step. This is a listener-supported podcast, and any level of sponsorship will unlock a wide range of live and archived classes, talks, and even workshops.
Raghunath teaches, I teach, and we have a host of other excellent teachers on topics ranging from yoga philosophy, asana classes, storytelling, Ayurveda, kirtan, cooking, meditation, and a lot more.
We even have an incredible online Bhakti 12-step recovery group.
So if you want to check it out, go to patreon.com/wisdom of the sages.
All right, let's get it on.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Live from Super Soul Farm, this is Wisdom of the Sages, a daily yoga podcast with your host, Raghunath and Mara. Kaustubha's off today. Kaustubha's off. Watch out. There's no guardrails today, Mara. Anything can happen. Without Kaustubha keeping me in check. Anyway, everybody, it is interview day today. And if you're listening to this on Facebook for the first time, welcome to the show. This is our daily study of the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the classic literature, the sweetest of all Indian sweets, of all Vedic literatures. It's the sweetest because it talks about connection to the divine, our higher power, our source, our sweet baby Krishna, through loving devotion. It's the Bhakti Shastra to imbibe. It's the gold standard of understanding Bhakti philosophy. And we study it on a regular basis because that's how the literature itself and the culture itself says you're supposed to imbibe it. You got to do it on a regular basis. Nityam Bhagavat Sevaya. So today, once a week, we have interview day where we pick someone, we invite someone we find very cool and interesting to come join our show. And before I introduce him, sit there with your hands folded, Madhu. Mara, do we have any announcements for everybody?
We do. We have a shloka group study right after the show at 9 o'clock and Bhakti recovery group meeting at 9:30 today.
If you're unfamiliar with the Bhakti recovery group, it's a 12-step program. We just basically replace, Nancy R, you can give me a thumbs up if I agree here, if you agree here. Basically, it's the principles of a 12-step program, but we replace the concept of higher power for a more definitive form of higher power. Is that a thumbs up? Yes, Nancy says thumbs up. We're doing this live on Zoom and on Facebook, but it's also available wherever you get podcasts. I also want to give a shout out to our good friends in New Paltz who have an incredible restaurant that I'm hoping I'm going to take the crew down to today. I'm taking the kids on a family trip today to Alachua, Florida. And we're going to meet up with Gauravani on the way, an old friend of mine and his kids. It's going to sort of be like a kid family vacation, but it's only the fathers are going. It's sort of it's a good man date. It's a man date. What do you think of that? It's a man date. Me and Gaura, and we're driving down. The kids are going to drive their own cars because they're teenagers now. And we're going to stop off at Krishna Kitchen. So if you're in the New York area or want to take a vegan holiday, check out Krishna. This is, I convince you, Mara, this is the next wave. It's like people are like, yeah, I want gluten-free. Yeah, I want vegetarian. No, I want vegan. Yeah, I want organic. No. This is the next wave. I want food made with love offered to God. I only eat prasad. That's where we're going with this. It's refinement, refinement, refinement. Someone just sent me a thing from Mara. Mara, can you look at me, please? You're looking at your vegetables you're cutting.
Sorry, I don't want to chop my fingers off.
I have no Kaustubha to look at. I got to look at you. You got to look back at me. That's just part of the rule today. Okay. Mara, I saw someone sent me a thing from Madrid, an all vegan Burger King. Like the world Even the corporate world is trying to catch up, but they're the kids running behind. We're at the cutting edge of this. The next phase is I don't want to eat food with the consciousness of a crazy guy just flipping my food around. I want someone with spiritually consciousness imbibing my food with spiritual juju. That's what I want to put in my mouth. What do you think about that? That's why your new business, Mara, I'm going to be your consultant. All you have to pay me is in vegan meatballs. That's all you have to pay me. The name of the company, Prashad. Prashad. Okay. It's already copyrighted. If you're thinking about it, back off. It's me and Mara's new business.
Sounds good.
Sounds good, right? Prashad.
Yeah.
Cool. People like a foreign name, a little mystical. Yeah. So anyway, check out Krishna Kitchen if you're in the New Paltz area. And they're from they're Gujarati, so they know how to cook, man. They're born cooking things. And Hari Revel, super cool guy. Madhu, you know Hari, right? Yeah, they're great people. Great people. Support them. We want to support our local businesses. And I want to also thank people there's a lot, a lot of people are signing up for scholarships, and a lot of people are vegan truckers here. He's live with me today, and he just made $108 donation because he can't go on the Columbia retreat, but he wants other people to go. So if you heard, we're doing a retreat to Columbia, me, Kaustubha, and Mara, the Wisdom of the Sages retreat. Get out of the cold if you're living upstate or live anywhere in the world, and meet us at our friend's place, Sham Ashram in Cali, Columbia. For more info, you can email Mara. What do you email? More info, just go to raghunath.yoga or email Bhakti. Thanks, Mara. Man, when Kaustubha's not here, I just keep talking and talking and talking and talking. But you know what? Madhu is a good talker himself, right? And let's welcome Madhu to the show. All right, Madhu, welcome, my friend. How are you?
I'm nervous that Kaustubha's not here. So the combination of the two of us without Kaustubha, it sounds a little. We're
going to go off the tracks today, Madhu. Madhu he's a blessed soul. He's not an ordinary guy. He's like, we're buddies. I consider him my buddy, but in sad reality, I'm old enough to be his maybe grandfather. Like he's incredibly talented. He more talented. Let's just share what he is. He specializes in. He's like a wonder boy. Specializes in like teaching Ayurveda. He specializes in spiritual life coaching. He really specializes in music and kirtan. He's one of those guys. I've never seen this. He's one of those. Some people are just born to do music. He's like singing with the guitar, chanting a beautiful hymn you've never heard. Like, I kid you not, Mara. He was playing the cartels with his feet better than I can play them with my hands. I kid you not. He's exceptionally more talented than me, better dressed, younger with less wrinkles, more hair than me. And I'm pretty sure even your dog is younger than my dog. Welcome to the show, Madhu.
There's nowhere else in the world I'd rather be at 5'8".
I love doing programs with you. I've traveled with Madhu all over the world. We do programs together. He is, it's just great to have you. And we wanted to make a little theme today because, a lot of people stumble onto our show. They Google search it or they want a spiritual podcast and they find it, or they heard it on Joe Rogan or on Rich Roll, which I was a guest of. And they're sort of like, well, where do you start this thing off? So I wanted to just sort of, how can I simplify Bhakti? How can I add Bhakti to my life? And I will say that I consider you an empowered teacher because you're out in the field and you deal with a lot of people that don't know anything about Bhakti, and you get them very attracted to it. And it's a great gift. Welcome.
Well, ditto. It's really encouraging to have been there for the first episode of Wisdom of the Sages.
That's right.
Started, and then to get to see everything here. I mean, even before the podcast officially started, when we would travel through Europe and whatnot, you were doing these Zoom classes consistently. And it's just, everything you said about me in the shortest way I could respond would be ditto times 10. Whatever I do, you just do it bigger.
You're kind.
I could do, you could do better.
I can't play the cartels with my feet or my hands very well, and I've been working on them for a long time. There's certain things I just can't do, even though I try. Well, it's good. I'm gonna start this off just with a question for you. What is a simple way? I'm just gonna play dumb. All right. I like Wisdom of Sages. It's a little sort of like a little hard to understand all the concepts, especially when you read from the literature. How do I just apply bhakti to my life? What's a good way, a simple way to do it?
Well, you have to play dumb. I, however, don't have to play. But let's try something anyway. The main thing, everything starts with a little bit of faith. Nothing in this world moves without a little bit of faith. And the main thing is to see what we have faith in this world. Everyone has faith in something. Can't get into a car and drive it without having a little faith. We all have faith in something. And so the idea of bhakti is this radical idea that there's a triple OG, there's a fully omniscient, omnibenevolent, omnipotent, divine source.
Oh, you're good. Did you get that, Mara? A triple OG?
Thank you.
He's got a lot of those, and we're gonna steal them. We're gonna steal them and pretend like we made them up.
That's the only reason people will let me come around, because I have these fantastic dad joke
They
consolidated.
are very dad joke, but that's okay. We're all devotees. We can be a little dad jokey. All right, continue, my friend. Triple OG. I just got that.
Yeah. The idea is that there is a source of our existence, of our consciousness, that is very personal. So personal, we don't even worship the Supreme in a mood of awe and reverence so much. We actually worship the Supreme as a friend, as a lover, even like a child, because there is a type of intimacy that comes with taking care of the divine that's not always or not oftenly available. So the main thing is to first say, I'm interested in exploring having faith in a supreme being that I want to fall deeply in love with. And that's the first step. And if you say, you know what, I'm down, let's try it. And the cool thing is, what's the alternative anyway? It's not really exciting. The alternative is like, I'm in a body for a couple of years, maybe a couple of decades, if you're lucky. And what are you really going to do during this lifetime? What can you get done in this lifetime anyway? And what happens when that big day comes? You guys know what I mean? That big day? It's called
a big day.
Yeah.
The day you're like, today? I completely wasn't prepared for it today. I had other plans to do today. I got I'm going on vacation. Right? That day when the rug gets pulled out from under you. Mara, you had a scary day like that, didn't you? Like a scary day where you felt like something's happening?
Yeah. I've had
like a life. You want to share that, Mara? Want to share that on the show? I know you weren't planning this.
I wasn't planning this.
Okay. Do you want? You don't have to. You can just say pass.
Yeah, I'll pass on it. Let's go back to Madhu.
Forget it. That was awkward. The day you almost died. Forget about it. Okay, Mara. Okay, go back to Madhu's conversation. Madhu, continue, please.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the main thing is if you realize there's not a lot of options, if we just simply go through this world without any particular long-term goals. Long-term doesn't just mean over the span of a handful of years or so, but long-term in a literal meaning after this lifetime. And reincarnation is actually a very simple point. I think everyone here experienced reincarnation because, I mean, what to speak of every 7 years, every cell in your body has completely regenerated. So if anyone here is over, I don't know, 21, you've at least reincarnated 3 times. You've taken on
49, 7 times.
Yeah. So we're constantly reincarnating anyway. So it's actually it only makes logical sense that things continue like that based on our full experience is us staying the same, but the body changing. So if we're thinking long-term, then after this life, what's going to happen? And if we're not spending our time dedicated with something that we can take away after this life, then when that big day comes, things might be very concerning and very challenging. Whereas in bhakti, we say, you can invest in something that is more long-term. And the proof of the pudding's in the tasting. Even if all of this is fake, even if none of it's real, even if there's no a life after death, at least the principles of bhakti make this life very joyful, and this life very, it enhances every aspect of this life. So there is no loss in any form or in any way. So those who are interested in saying, hey, let me try on this bhakti for size, the main thing is you start with a little bit of faith. You say, okay, millions and millions and millions of people all around the world have taken to this process and seen some benefit. Therefore, there's probably something in it. I don't have to reinvent the wheel, and I can connect to some joy that's been available for many, many thousands and thousands of years, actually from time immemorial, and reap the benefit that so many others have from a very simple process, a very natural process.
I actually love that, because you started leading with like, well, you better do it because at the time of death, you don't want to get, boiled alive in sesame oil, in some type of like Ayurvedic oil, which I call the Abhyanga oil. You don't want to get boiled alive. But then you brought it back to actually, even if there's nothing, even if the whole world is void, what a fun culture, what a sweet culture. I can just share alone, just like I had yesterday, or the day before yesterday was like wisdom of the sages to me. I saw Bobby, Mara, Kateri, and they're just like sweet people. And then what happened? Someone donated to me a harmonium. They just came up to me and say, you know what, Raghu, I bought this in India. I don't use it. I would love for you to give it to one of your students. I was like, thank you. You're giving me something to carry around for a while. Okay. No, but it was sweet. It was like just a sweet gesture. And so I know Vegan Trucker is trying to learn the harmonium. So I said, Vegan Trucker, why don't you come over and get the harmonium? And I got to come over, and then Vegan Trucker's like, hey, you know what? I want to donate some money to the thing in Cali. And it's just like a culture of sweetness. You come on the show and I just want to appreciate you, because we're trained and we train ourselves. Because my training, otherwise, my default, when my car starts, my car breaks away and just driving by itself down the hill, mine is just to go to find fault with people, to bolster my ego so people like me. It's such a bad programming that I've been running for lifetimes. But, we train ourselves to go right to a person and just appreciate their good qualities. It's just a sweet way to relate to someone. And then what did you do? You didn't even accept it. You just said, oh, no, you, but more. It's just a different culture than high school, which was where you just tear into people. Not even your enemies. You tear into your good friends. That is like a sad way to be. And so I want sweetness in my life, whether there's God or no God whatsoever. Although I do accept. I mean, what do you say to people who are like, yeah, whatever, I don't believe in a God. I think the religion's just meant to control you by people. It was a made up thing, just meant to control you. So you do what people say. And ultimately, there's just nothing in this world. How do you deal with people like that? Do you run into them on the regular?
Oh, yeah, of course. I mean, atheism is kind of a hard topic to fight for, because atheism is saying there is no God for certain. The only way to know that for certain would be to be God, or to be fully omniscient and know everything.
That's a good point. Are you certain there's no God? Are you certain?
Yeah. So if somebody says I'm an atheist, it's actually quite simple. That means you're saying you certainly know there is no divine source, which indicates that you are omniscient, aka a divine source, which means that you
well, especially because it's usually said with a little bit of arrogance, like, yeah, you're stupid religious people just blindly following an opiate of the masses. Obviously, there's nothing. No, it's not obvious. Maybe God's not obvious, but if I can say, continue. I'm sorry to chop you off. I just got a big mouth.
No, I mean, I think anyone who listens to us, we could probably just do this 24 hours a day. And
we do. When we're together, this is what we do. We just talk, we step on each other, we pass it back and forth. We never stop talking. We would be like flunking, what do I call that thing? The Buddhist thing?
Vipassana.
The Vipassana. We would flunk, me and Madhu would flunk right out of Vipassana. The Buddhist monks would say, get your asses out of here right now. You guys are like passing notes during quiet meditation and mumbling and then whistling and start laughing and can't stop laughing. That's what you and me would be like if you Vipassana.
Yes. That's why I'm into bhakti, you know. You can talk.
We're allowed to talk.
You can
We're
talk.
allowed to talk about spiritual things. And that's, by the way, that is a great principle about bhakti. You can't just say everything's bad. Everything has its use. And talking has its use. Or else why would we give these flappers? Why would God give us these flappers? You just got to talk about things that liberate you and heal you. Madhu?
Yeah. And so to finish that idea is that if someone says, I'm an atheist, it's a really hard position, because that means they know that there is no source of existence, which means they're claiming omniscience themselves. It means that they are. I mean, it's just, it doesn't work very well. And so, I mean, someone who's agnostic is a respectable position philosophically. It's like, yeah, okay. Agnostic simply means I don't know. It comes, I mean, it ultimately is a cognate of Sanskrit from the word gya, J-N-A. Gya means knowledge, and agya, like we say Om Agyana. Everyone here, we chant that every day. Om Agyana. Agyana means ignorance or without light. And it's the same word that we have in English, knowledge. Knowledge is...
He's checking to make sure you're listening, Mara.
Agnostic. It comes from that same gya root in Sanskrit, which literally just means I don't know. Agya. I don't know. And so that's actually a respectable position, because most of us, we don't. We come into this world, we don't really have an idea, but we take on the ideas of everyone around us. Our parents say something, we're like, yeah, all right. Our cool friend says a spiritual line, and we're like, yeah, that's my new philosophy. But what I don't think most people are familiar with is, just like everyone has a psychology, whether you know psychology or not, whether you study psychology or not, we have a psychology. And in the same way, whether you know philosophy,
like a thinking, you're saying we have a psychology, I mean, we have a way that we think already.
Yeah. And in the same way as we all have a psychology, whether we know psychology or not, we all have a philosophy, whether we know philosophy or not. So the main thing is agnostic it's fine, actually, because let's give you something to contemplate. Let's actually give you an ancient theology that shows how to uplift one's life systematically through a process. And so as soon as we start to get into the realm of how to practice bhakti, if you're new to this and you say, you know, or even if you've been around, you're like, yeah, I like bhakti, but you're like, what is the most accessible way to start? Is you have a little bit of faith, and then you start hanging out with those. After you get a little faith, you start hanging out with those who are already practicing, who are already tasting the nectar of the practice of bhakti. And you start to go, that looks pretty good. That looks good.
I mean, I would like to see people write on the board, book or body. I'm trying to use two B's, book or body. Was it a book that got you into bhakti, or was it a body, like a human being that talked to you? Like for me, it was definitely a body. I couldn't read the books. I couldn't read any of them. Easy Journey to Other Planets, couldn't read it. Bhagavad Gita, couldn't read it. I couldn't read any of them. I just can't concentrate. Mara knows. She knows the deal. I can't. I've got like a thick, what do they say in Dutch? Keisekopf. I got like a cheese head. Okay, here people are saying, yeah, big books didn't make sense. Body. Yeah, it's a lot of bodies. Yeah. This is how we do it, you know. And that, I think this is a good thing about Wisdom of the Sages or Nam Rasa's podcast. It's you're hearing from devotees. You hear what they're about, how they talk, how they behave. For me, it was the association of a devotee and asking questions in a humble way. I was interested, and then in that magical dialogue, that's the ancient dialogue. That's the dialogue of the Bhagavatam. That's the dialogue of you and your guru, of your guru's guru and his guru. That's the dialogue of Maitreya and Vidura. That's the dialogue of, right? That's the dialogue that's been going on throughout the whole Bhagavatam for millennia. And it's books and bodies, Matt Godden says. Okay, Matt Godden, he can read books. Good for you, Matt. You had to rub that in my face. No, we're not all dumb.
Well, I mean, ultimately, the book is just a person encapsulated anyway. So, like specifically, like the purport is actually it's someone with bhakti gifting bhakti, because that's actually how we get it anyway, right? It's somebody gifts.
It's like the transcendental Johnny Appleseed, right? Someone plants some bhakti in your heart in a seed form.
Yeah. And then from there, you start to practice it yourself and you go, okay, this is quite tasty. I'm feeling the benefit. I'm feeling the results. And then the best part of a devotional service happens. And that's called anarta nivriti, which means clearing all the unwanted stuff out of the heart. That's the fun part. That's the part where most of us say, nah.
That's the interesting thing about bhakti. It gives you that, like, what do the drug dealers call it when they give you a little taste of that drug? They go, oh, this is good stuff. Good stuff.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you're like, and you get to this point where like, this is great. This is great. This is great. And all of a sudden, all the impurities start to come up. And you realize, what is the matter with me? Am I so crazy? Am I so psycho? Am I so sick? And that is actually the beauty of bhakti too. It's like the scrubbing bubbles. Do you know what that is? You're too young to even know what that is, Madhu. Mara, do you know what it is? Scrubbing bubbles?
I do. Yeah.
She does. Thank you. Scrubbing bubbles. It's these little cartoon character scrub brushes that are scrubbing our consciousness. That's what bhakti is. It scrubs the consciousness. Cheto, darpanam, marjanam, bhava, mahadavagni, nirvapanam, and it extinguishes a blazing fire. I love the acharyas, the masters use that analogy. There's a blazing fire when we're immersed in the material world. Anybody ever feel like that? Like, my world is on fire. Everything about my life is on. Okay. Mara's nodding. Yes, me. Fire. Madhu said fire. It's true. It does. It actually extinguishes that fire. And like we were saying, and that's why I can relate to the agnostics, like you said. People are hard set. There is no God. You're all crazy. I feel like saying, listen, hear me out here. We're not threatening. We're not promising some pie in the sky when you die. I'm saying that the tangible life right now is good. I don't know God exists. I don't know. You know why? Because I'm not I don't know things. Could he exist? Yeah, why not? That's reasonable. It's reasonable that there can be a higher source than me. I'm here with Vegan Chakra. This guy's a genius. He's smarter than me. That's a higher power right there. I'm here with Mara. She's more talented at cooking than me. I'm here with you. You can play cartels with your feet in a handstand. I can't do that. So you guys all have higher powers than me. There's people who are stronger than me. There's people who are more sophisticated. There's artists, architects, all have some higher power than me. Then, of course, there's energies like the sun, the wind, the ocean, higher than me. Why can't there be some higher power of all the powers? That's where I go with it. You like?
I like. Well, and then you have the problem of consciousness too. The challenge is, how do you explain consciousness? I think therefore I am.
Go there. Explain this whole thing.
I mean, in brief, it's I think therefore I am. We can understand we're conscious just by the idea of asking ourselves, are we conscious? And so if we are conscious, there must be a source of consciousness. There must be some ultimate source where consciousness comes from. I mean, that's just another name for God or divinity. So, sometimes in America, we don't like the G word. However you want to call it, the love,
the force, the energy, the universe.
Love supreme, as I like to say. And so there is some conscious source. The fact that we are conscious means there has to be some conscious source. In other words, that is divinity. And so the challenge is, even if you don't want to call it God or higher power or whatever, there are powers higher than us, and there are ultimately sources of our consciousness, where our consciousness comes from. So the challenge is, if you really dig into this stuff philosophically, it gets really sticky unless you accept there's some axiomatic truths, something that we can all agree on, something that we can all say, yeah, we all agree on this, and we can start here and we can move up from here. There has to be something objective about this world that we accept. And so in Bhakti, it's really simple, actually. The ancient teachers of Bhakti make it really easy for us. This is like one of my favorite aspects of Bhakti is they spend, we have thousands of years of those who are very advanced in the practice of Bhakti, whose only goal is like, how do I make Bhakti for dummies, even before the for
books,
Dummies
Bhakti.
series came out.
Right.
It's like, how do I make this stuff as simple as possible so that all types of people, no matter what you look like or sound like or smell like or whatever, can engage and advance yourself in this practice of devotional life and actually experience it. And like you mentioned, Raghu, it's like, we're not saying after this life is when you get the benefit. No. Now, in this life, while you're living, you can feel liberated. There's a word for that. Jivan mukta means liberated in this life. You can feel divine presence. It's available. People do it. It's not just at some point. It's not promising you something in the future. It's promising you something right in this moment. So for those who are interested in practicing bhakti, the main thing is find yourself a crew. You got to get a guru. Everyone repeat after me.
I like that. Find yourself a crew. That's
And
good.
You got to get a guru. Everyone repeat after me. Got to get a guru.
Got to get a guru. Got to get a guru. Got to get a guru.
You got to get a guru. You got to get someone who knows.
You want to explain in very layman's terms, guru? Does that mean official guy?
Yeah, if you
girl?
want to be, either. I mean, whatever. It's like,
what's the qualification?
Yeah, I mean, if you want to become an expert snowboarder, find somebody who's expert at snowboarding and learn from them. If
you know what? I like that. It's so simple. There's all these debates. Who is guru? What is guru? Find someone who knows more than you and lives with integrity.
Yeah.
And ask them questions. You want to be a good snowboarder? You find a great snowboarder. You ask them questions. The better snowboarder, even better. Yep. Right?
And it's really that simple. You find someone, and if you're sincere, you'll find that these things magically and mystically manifest right in your life. I mean, raise your hand. Just show me. Raise your hand if you've experienced. You're like a little desire to learn bhakti kind of springs up, and then all of a sudden you get an ocean of resources manifest for it. Okay, practically, maybe unanimous. It's just like, that's just what happens. All you got to do is you show a little effort. I mean, even as the ancient acharyas or the gurus, the spiritual teachers of bhakti say that, every you make one step towards Krishna, he makes 10 towards you. It's the idea that, any loving parent or any loving friend that really cares about you is just waiting there, even if you get all sassy with them and turn your back. And then, but all they're doing, anyone who really cares, they're just waiting with open arms for you to turn around. You turn around, they're like, yes, there you are.
What a nice way to picture a higher power. A loving friend who's just waiting for you.
Patiently.
I'm there for you. You need me.
I'm not going to force. I'm not going to push. I'm going to give you I'm going to tap a little bit. I'm going to give you a bunch of hints, but just whenever you're ready, I'm right here to embrace you. And so,
and if not, I'm going to boil you in Abhyanga oil.
Yeah. So in bhakti, it's really just that. It's really that simple as start with the desire, find a crew, got to get a guru, some of those people who can help explain it to you. And then the main thing is you do it. And it's really simple. It's just hearing and chanting. And that's the problem is it's like, could it really be that easy? Yeah, it's because it's natural. Of course it's easy. If it's easy, it means it's natural. If it's natural, it means it's of your nature. So therefore, if you're simply hearing and chanting every day, it doesn't have to be a lot. I mean, the more the merrier, but something every day so you don't close your eyes at night until you've knocked out those joppers, knocked out a few mantras. You hang out with God in the form of sound, because divinity is absolute, which means all aspects and forms of divinity are absolute, which means that the names of divinity are non-different than divinity themselves. So you hang out with God in sound form, and you read about him from those who have a great, who have realization about divinity. And you just do that every day. And it, as if magically stuff starts to happen. And then you just got to keep pushing through the heart, the what do you call it? Bubble cleansing, the scrub daddy.
Scrubbing bubbles.
Scrub bubbles.
Scrubbing bubbles, youngin'.
You push through it. And then what happens after you purify the heart, and that way you get rid of these unwanted desires, is nishta. It's steadiness. And then from there you get to taste it. You actually get addicted to chanting. Yeah, like actually a word for it. It's like asakti. Literally means like you get like addicted You can't not do it. And this ruchi, the taste, it's just like, it's too good. And then in this way, you just steadily advance in spiritual life as if it's magical. I mean, and the cool thing is you don't have to reinvent the wheel. You don't have to figure this stuff out for yourself. All you got to do is try it. And if we're wrong, money back guaranteed for today's episode.
Now, this is a good question. This leads me to my next question. By the way, I like to think of myself, Mara, come on, I'm a pretty positive person, pretty upbeat, pretty bright light. Come on, give me something, Mara.
For sure.
I feel like this guy's brighter than me. He's just sunnier. He's enthusiastic. As a matter of fact, sometimes I get around your show like, like a happy little elf, that I'm just like, would you just cut it out?
That's the story of my life. It's actually, I didn't know this until my wife told this to me, probably at least a year or so to our relationship. And she goes, you know what? I didn't realize you're always like this. She's like, we all talk about it. Like, there's no way he could always be like this. But then I married you and I realized, oh my God, you're actually always like this.
Higher the enthusiasm.
And just because I got good lighting is all. That's the only reason.
Good lighting helps, and good hair. You got good hair.
Well, I still can't.
I don't have good lighting or good hair.
One thing I just wanted to say too is I'm noticing in the chat, there's things going through here. If anyone has questions too that you guys want to explore, just throw them in the group chat. We'd love to.
Yeah, throw them in the group chat, because I never listen to the speaker. I just go through the chat board.
Yeah, so throw your question. Anyone here that's live on Facebook or Zoom, just throw your questions in, and we can explore them there too. If there's anything that's you guys are wanting to dive deeper into.
That's the first time we ever said that on the show. Didn't Mara? We practically never say that, but yes, we will do that. Mara will check that while she's cutting vegetables, listening. She will also go through that chat board. Here's one for you. Sometimes you hear of people, who get into bhakti, they're into it, they even get initiated, or they've been through it a while, and then they drift away. If it's so good, if what you're doing, man, is so good, why do people get out of it? What would you say?
I mean, I think the main thing is to ask them if it actually works or not. Frankly, I ask this. I don't mind when people are like, yeah, I used to practice bhakti, I'm not into it anymore. I'm like, awesome. Thanks for letting me know. It's like, no sweat, do your thing. But you can still ask them, did you feel relief at any point? And if the answer is yes, we can understand that whether somebody's practicing something or not, just because somebody stops practicing, it doesn't mean it's not working. Actually, matter of fact, it's like saying if somebody stops working out and you're like, see, maybe working out just doesn't work. Actually, maybe working out actually doesn't help. So then the question is, maybe you got the wrong workout is the first question, or you're not doing it properly. You're like busting your knees because you're not you didn't learn how to do it properly. Right. Or working out works and it helps you, however, through just challenges aren't able to do it. So then the main thing is, if you want to do it, you put the bar as low as possible, because any bar in bhakti is a helpful bar. Right. You find something that you can do. And you just find something that no matter what happens, even if the house burns down, you can finish your daily spiritual practice. You read your one verse a day, you chant your one mantra. It doesn't have to be a lot. But slowly but surely, under the guidance of a cool crew and a guru, a spiritual teacher, somebody that inspires you, you find something that works, and you slowly but surely increase, and you feel the benefit. And if you're not feeling it, then to change it. And if you leave, no problem. You're going to come back at some point, unless you get really offensive. Actually, well, there's one exception.
That's the big one. Why don't you elaborate on that, Prabhu?
That is like the one exception. To some people, you will meet some people who say, yeah, I'm not into this bhakti thing. I tried it for a few months, LOL. I tried it for a few months, or maybe even a few years.
You could say a few years.
Even a few years, yeah, sure. It's like, yeah, I did it. I'm not into it. It doesn't work. I don't like it. The people suck, whatever the case might be. My experience is take in their character very carefully and see if such a person, and I mean, I challenge anyone right now who's listening to this podcast. I challenge, this is Madhu's thing. So if hopefully it was
the Madhu challenge, we call it. Take the Madhu challenge.
Well, I challenge anyone. If you know someone that you feel like is of the highest, it's such great character, non-critical, not judgmental, like really uplifting person with no huge character flaws that says bhakti doesn't work. Introduce me to them. I'm with open arms saying, please introduce me to such a person. I have, however, met people who are like, yeah, not into bhakti, don't do it. And they do some weird stuff. I do some weird stuff too.
Right.
You know, I'm kind of weird. So not against weird things.
I get it.
Character challenge, offensive people who say really nasty things. And that's the only way to not have bhakti grow in the heart. Because if you harden the heart and become critical of others, especially those who are dedicated their life to uplifting themselves spiritually, bhakti cannot grow in a hard heart. You need a soft heart.
Advancing in bhakti while criticizing others is like tying your shoes, wearing mittens, wearing catcher's mitts on both hands. It's just not going to work. You can't do it. You can have the robes, you can have the lack of hair, the sika or the sari or the expensive malas or whatever accoutrements of bhakti. You can go to all the kirtans, but if you're bringing in a bad attitude where you find fault with people on a regular basis, it's a really delicate thing because it's just part of culture. Is being critical, being snarky. It's the worst thing. It is a thing that is the straw that breaks the camel's back in bhakti. And you can't, not only do you not advance, there's very severe statements about just like you get cast away for lifetimes. And so you got to find the people that you offended and apologize to them. And because it's not like the devotees take offenses. The devotees don't take offense. We take no offense. We're kind. Devotees are loving. We trained ourselves. If I offend Madhu, and make fun of him or hurt his feelings or something like that, he'll internalize that. We are trained to internalize that. And it's beautiful. We take that out and we try not to hold on to resentments. We practice quick forgiveness. We practice quick to apologize, all these things. So the devotee doesn't take offense. Why? Because we're trained not to take offense. But Lord Vishnu takes offense. And he doesn't like, almost like if someone was to strike my little child, I would get very offended. Even if my child would be like, ooh, laugh it off, or even cry for a minute, but then still want to play with the guy, the father or the mother would get, that mother bear instinct comes out. So Lord Vishnu has an affinity for all living entities, even ones that you might not like or whatever. But if I offend Madhu, then Madhu doesn't take offense, but Lord Vishnu takes offense. And that's a problem. And the way to nullify is that I go to Madhu and say, Madhu, please forgive me, brother. And then Lord Vishnu backs off. But the thing is, there's a sacred circle that we're not allowed in unless there's appropriate relationships. And you can come in, but I have to get rid of my baggage. I've been carrying around material baggage for lifetimes, and it's exhausting me. It's ruining my life. It's ruining my relationships. It's ruining my friendships. And on my spiritual path, I see the baggage is actually there for me to grow from. And I have to realize, like, I'm learning from this baggage. I grew up very sarcastic, rude, snarky, and cruel. And I have to let go of that. And I see that, and I have to work on that. And when that manifests again, I have to not act on what I thought was, well, that's just what I am. It's not what I am. It's what I've trained myself to be on a regular basis. It's not me. It's what I got a little bit of feedback from. Somebody laughed at my joke. Somebody thought, oh, he's funny. I got a little bit of a payoff in a material way, but I didn't get that big jackpot from bhakti. So we are all, transcendentalists in training, and I'm forced to shed that baggage, let go of that stuff that's not serving me. It's just not welcome. And it's what you said. It's like these people who actually say, I'm out of bhakti, but I have all bad feelings towards it. You should definitely start to put the microscope on yourself and find out where you went wrong. And sometimes people are just so obtuse, or it's so wrapped into our behavior, we just can't let it go. And that's a problem. And that's why it goes back to your first thing. You find a guru, or you find teachers, or you find a tribe of people who don't want to talk that way. I'm not friends with every devotee who practices bhakti or into bhakti. I have a select posse, you know what I mean, that I want in my life, because that posse is going to make whoever I keep close to me, they're going to make me grow, or they're going to make me, get buried. That's why I like you.
I like you too, Raghu. Well, and then just in brief to address the question in the chat in terms of what if you unintentionally offend someone? I mean, that's why Vaishnavas live the way that, the way that Bhakti yogis are supposed to live, is that we always go around just,
Oh, you know what? This is a good one. Let me just read that question, because not everybody's got a chat board. What if you unintentionally or unknowingly offend devotees?
Yeah, I mean, it's actually really simple. This is why we in Bhakti, the whole goal is to offer respects to everyone and expect no respect in return. And if you live like this,
it's a great statement. Say that again. Mary, you got to write that one down.
What did I say? The idea of Bhakti is that you offer respects to everyone and expect no respect in return. I mean, this is what Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the avatar for this age, is taught us, that we be extremely tolerant, more tolerant than a tree. More
trees are pretty tolerant, man.
Really do anything to it, they won't complain.
Yeah, you could chop it, you could carve your name in it, you could peel the bark off it, and never ever talks back.
Yeah. And so the main thing is, if you constantly meditate on this, like I offer everyone my respects, and like I that's why we call everyone Prabhu, my master, and I expect no respect in return, then automatically you don't have to worry about it. If someone has a grudge, that's their issue, not yours. Holding a grudge, the way one of my teachers talks about is like, if you're carrying a grudge, it's like, even think of the word grudge, it's like a little gremlin-like monster. Even you think of it like
he's a little grudge.
It's like you're like carrying these little grudges. They're like these little ugly little monsters that are just so it's like, put the grudge down, chill out, but that actually doesn't have anything to do with you. So I mean, there's some really good questions here. I'm not sure that we'd have enough time to really explore them in depth, but
I think that is a huge one. So if you unintentionally offend a devotee, then what do?
You offer them all respects, and everyone. Yeah,
well, I think
if it's unintentional, you don't know. So that's why you just have to go through life in that mood of like, I offer everyone respects, including you, this person who I don't know offended me, and I expect no respect in return from you.
Yeah,
and all of a sudden,
that's why it's actually. Well, I'm sorry, Prabhu. Go on.
No. I was just gonna say, and that's when every door in the world opens for you. If you go around the world, you say, I offer everyone respects, I expect no respect. Everyone's like, come on in. If you do the opposite, everyone's like, get on out.
Well, this is a good thing. It's like, if you unintentionally, unknowingly offend devotees, it's more realized on their side. If they're getting offended, it's their problem. If I get offended, that's my problem. If you say something I don't like, that's my problem. I got to now I'm carrying resentment around. That's my problem. If I got issues with my father or my mother or my older brother, guess who's got a problem? Not them. I do. Resentment's a poison I take to kill you. I think I'm hurting you by resenting you. Oh, that Madhu came into the temple. I waved to him and he didn't even look at me. How dare he? It's like, I'm old friends with him. And then he led that kirtan and I sat down next to him. He didn't look at me during that whole kirtan. That's my problem. That's not Madhu's problem. Me carrying resentments, collecting these little grudge curmudgeons in my backpack and carrying them around with me, and they're hanging on to me. That's my issue. So if I got issues, they're my issues. And if I'm actually practicing bhakti, I will forgive. I'll let go of resentment. And I'll even go up to a person. And Krishna puts us through these tests. When we get to this point of, I feel a resentment, we got to like own that immediately. This is my problem. Once I have a resentment towards someone, I look at it as red flag is up. I got to do something about this because I'm off my spiritual trajectory. Once I have a resentment, and I have to internalize that. Like we were saying earlier, I've got to internalize that. What's my responsibility in it? And sometimes, hey, maybe I did wave to Madhu, it didn't see me. Or you know what? Maybe I waved to him and they see me. He just didn't want to wave back. And you know what? Tough. That's my problem also. I'm here to offer respect. And you're right. And it's a beautiful thing. And if you're new to the show, sometimes we call each other Prabhu. Prabhu. You might think like, what are they saying? Moo moo. Somebody said, are you going moo moo? I said, no, Prabhu. Prabhu. It's like, why do you call each other Prabhu all the time? It means master. You're addressing each other as a master, which means that makes me the servant. If you're the master, if you're the Prabhu, Mara Prabhu, Nancy R. Prabhu, Koretsky G. Prabhu, that means I am the servant. It's such a nice way to view the world instead of the way I grew up going, yo, trucker, vegan trucker, what's up? Yo, Ariana, yo, Leslie Vente, yo. It's like, it's someone like intimidating people. Hey, so it's just a culture of sweetness. Imagine if you did that at the gas station. Master, can you fill it up with 87, please? Thank you, Master. The guy's like, what the hell? All right. Master, I will take whatever. Just a nice way to deal with people.
Yeah. One thing I'm just seeing is we're not gonna have time to hit all these questions, but they're really good questions people threw in the group chat. And one thing I extended last time, I'm happy to do again, is those of you who are participating in Wisdom of the Sages, I'm happy to just gift you some time and explore and find you some resources. Just reach out and let's chat. It actually doesn't take long. Sometimes you're like, oh, I don't know what to ask. It's like, you don't have to just ask, how do I advance in spiritual life? And, some people are asking about Ayurveda. And the reason I focus on Ayurveda, arguably more than anything else, is if you don't feel healthy, if you can't think straight, you can't chant straight. If you can't,
Good point.
It's
Good
like
point.
So the reason we focus on Ayurveda so much. Some people ask often like, hey, you're a bhakti guy. Why do you spend so much time on this health stuff? You're not this body. I'm like, yeah, but I'm in the body for a couple of years at least. So let's take care of it as properly as possible. So if you guys have questions about these things, just reach out. I'm happy to give you my time and just find some resources. There's online resources, free stuff, trainings, so many things.
I'm looking at the clock and I can't believe it's almost over.
Yeah.
I could just talk to you. I could just talk to you forever, you and me.
I mean, I hope we do that, Raghu. I hope we get to just.
That's my plan.
All day.
I hope you're chanting to me when I'm leaving my body.
I don't
How
know
about that?
I'm not interested in talking about that. But
it's okay. We're not going to die. We don't die. Just leave our bodies.
Not you.
Don't you believe in this stuff?
Yeah, and anyone who's interested in learning these things, just let us know. We're like, hey, that's what we do.
Madhu, do you want to talk about Kali Columbia and that retreat, and then also your program for Patreon members tomorrow evening?
Oh, well, I'll just say for Patreon members, we're doing some Ayurveda stuff, some free Ayurveda fun stuff for everyone. And we were thinking how to make this really easy for everyone. And so what we decided is, Mara, could you just put in the info@madhu.life or @madhu.life? Pretty much everyone just email me the word. Anyone who's interested in like coming to the Patreon things or joining any of the trainings Raghu and I are doing, which I'll say we could just mention for 30 seconds or so. If you're interested in joining them or you just like want some resources and just want to connect, just email info@madhu.life, the word bhakti. Just, you don't have to, I mean, if you have questions or something, you can also throw them in.
That's pretty good.
Literally the word bhakti. And then what we'll do is Raghu and I will we'll reach out, we'll set something up and make sure you guys aren't in the dark, that you feel like you have the resources that you want. And specifically, if you want to learn kirtan, come to the beautiful Sham Ashram in Kali Columbia with us.
Okay, let's talk about that first quickly. Me and Madhu are doing a thing in Kali Columbia. What's the date, Madhu? 23rd,
January
24th?
23rd to February 3rd. Yeah.
Something like that. Check my website, raghunath.yoga. But me and Madhu, we're excited. It's bhakti, it's kirtan. It's a chance to really hone in your skills. Write to us. We do this in India this year. We had to change it to Kali. I love Kali. It's a great place. And please join us. Check it out. And what did you mention? What's the Patreon thing you're doing tomorrow?
Yeah, it's I'm doing actually two to accommodate those who are in all different time zones. I'm doing two different Ayurvedic workshops. What am I doing, Mara?
The first one will be tomorrow night at 6 p.m.
Okay.
And the next one will be December 5th, I think at 2 p.m. Eastern time.
Awesome.
Yeah,
And it's,
You make Ayurveda fun.
Well,
You make tongue scraping fun.
well, and the reason we're doing 2 is because we're not recording them and posting them after. So if you guys want to come and make
Okay.
it a point and change your schedule. If you got to change your schedule, but come and participate. And let's just make sure, let's get you guys on a good diet and routine that you can actually practice spiritual life for the rest of your life sustainably.
Ooh,
And
I like that.
I have to say one other thing is that I'm really excited about. Raghu and I haven't launched this yet. So you guys are the first humans that get to hear this. Hey, give me a thumbs up. Am I allowed to say it, Raghu? February?
Yeah. We're about to do it. We're about to do it.
Yeah, we're about to launch it. And so,
like a little mini training just with us.
yeah, it's a mini trend. The thing is, some people, they're like, I don't have all this time. I don't have all these resources. So I just want to dive really deep with you guys. And so we're doing a month-long immersion, Raghu and I, in February, where we're literally talking about how to create a joyful life.
So we called it sustainable joy.
Yeah.
It's just one meeting a week or an hour and a half for the whole month, 4 weeks in a row.
Yeah,
It's just
4
like a little
weeks,
mini
a bunch of
workshop.
tools.
It's $108. And if you're on Patreon, you get our songbook. We have a special songbook we made. We send that to you, a PDF of it.
If anyone's interested in any of these things, just literally email me the word Bhakti, and we'll hook you guys up. We'll chat with you. I'm happy to gift you my time just to explore and make sure that we find some resources that work for you, because the biggest challenge we experience is that we feel like we're in the dark and we don't know what's the next steps. That sucks. Don't be there.
Sucks.
It doesn't have to be me. Actually, if there's others in your life that you go to, hit it. But chat with someone that can help. I'm happy to do that. There's so many others that are way more qualified than me, and they're here to help. And just know that you're never going to be in the dark. You don't have to do this alone. There's always options. We love you guys. We're here to help. Bada bing, bada boom.
Bada bing, bada boom. Thanks for having Madhuri Pura. Madhu, we love you on the show. Always welcome and good to have you back. Tomorrow I'm going to be in Washington, D.C. with my buddy Gauravani. I'll see you there tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock. We're doing 8 o'clock this week because at 8 o'clock, it's happening. And then I'm heading on the road to Florida, family trip. And Mara, any other announcements you want to make quick? No. All right. Well, I'm going to miss the upstate crew, Mara. I also want to thank Yvette and Chris, who brought over a bunch of Italian food for Shad yesterday for an Italian party. Thank you, guys. We got a good tribe here, Madhu. I will say this is a great tribe. And I personally feel very supported. I think a lot of us have gone through crazy years, 2020, and then we'll think it's going to be all good in 2021. Wrong. Crazy 2021. Don't worry, it's going to be good in 2022. Well, we'll see. Don't worry. We're going to hold on to Krishna's lotus feet as our banister through the material landslide that's going on. The glue trap of material existence, we call it, Madhu. But we know we are too blessed to be depressed or to be stressed. I like that one. Too blessed to be distressed and depressed. Let's dance.